Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Thursday, January 18th, and the energies in the day adds up and reduce to number 9 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. So when it comes to the spirit animal that's guiding us for the day, we are rocking with the dolphin energy. And whenever the dolphin energy comes out, a few things come to mind. The first thing is the telepathic aspect of the dolphin, how they're known to communicate to each other, how they're known to even pick up on humans' thoughts, like their telepathic ability is one thing that comes to mind. And then when I look at the background of the cards and think about how playful they are, it brings me to being optimistic. And then the watery aspect of the dolphin brings me to emotions, emotions. But then I think about how all of those things tie in the sense that it is through our emotions our emotions and imagination, we're able to tap into telepathy. Well, for me at least, I feel things and my feelings help to tie into like the natural knowings that'll come over me, but feelings for sure. And for some, it might be hard to use your feelings if, say, you're overly stimulated in the sense that the different things that we're consuming causing our emotions to go from one extreme to the next, and also to not spending enough time in silence and meditation, not spending enough time in silence for me. Whenever I'm not spending enough time in silence, I find myself feeling overwhelmed. Spending time in silence helps me to quiet my mind. Spending time in silence helps me to know the difference between my thoughts and others, in the sense that from spending time in silence and practicing breathing and bringing awareness to what's happening within my body, it's like you can't observe what's happening within your body or on your body. Like if you were to grip your hand, yes, your mind knows you're gripping your hand, so you would assume what it would feel like to grip your hand. But imagine if something was to rub up against your skin and you didn't see what was rubbing up against your skin, and you just was feeling what was rubbing against your skin. Your attention and focus will go to that area where the thing is rubbing up against your skin, and you're going to be still and very observant as you try to figure out what that is. And we can't bring our awareness and attention to something and think at the same time. So for me, bringing my awareness to what's happening inside of my body and outside of my body, whether I'm observing how my clothes feel against me, or if the wind or the breeze is blowing or the air is flowing, I'll bring my attention to that. And from bringing my attention to what's happening within or on the outside, becoming an observer, I can't think and observe at the same time. So spending as much time as possible throughout my day grounding myself and bringing my attention to my senses. What am I thinking? What not thinking? What am I hearing? What am I smelling? What am I feeling? It gets me out of my head and stops me from thinking, stops me from having a bunch of thoughts going from one extreme to the next, by grounding myself in my senses as far as what am I feeling? What am I smelling? What am I hearing? Because from my experience, I can't observe something and think at the same time. And the more I bring my attention to being an observer, the more it clears the channels of my mind, and the more I'm able to pick up on things outside of myself. And I found from doing that over time, you get better. Like, if you practice makes perfect, like they say. So for me, that was how, I was able to strengthen my intuition. But a lot of things came together. A lot of things like worked together in the sense that also at that time, I started being even more conscious about the foods and things that I was consuming. So now I wasn't overly stimulated when it comes to sugars that aren't good for us. Sugars, synthetic sugars, and processed foods and things like that. So me cutting that out and making changes when it comes to things like that, that also made it easier for me to hear what was happening around me, and my intuition strengthened. I feel like I spent a lot of time trying to explain this, and with the energies in the day adding up and reducing to the number 9 vibration, the number 9 deals with releasing and letting go. So we're definitely releasing and letting something go today. And with the day being the 18th, something about ourselves and a system that we live by, or a way of doing something. So today might be a day where someone says, you know what, that's it. No more eating fried foods, or you know what, that's it. No more binging sweets or whatever. Or maybe certain habits or certain things that we do, and probably even unconsciously do it because it's a habit. It's like putting a stop or deciding, you know what, I want to put an end to that. Like I could see today being a day where someone's like, okay, I'm gonna make up their mind to go on some kind of a cleanse, or go on some kind of a fast, or just make certain decisions to put an end to certain cycles that, a person been a part of that hasn't been the best. And it feels like something about putting an end to this cycle will help with, say, hormones, regulate emotions, and also more than anything, our intuition. Because for me, my intuition is my eyes. My intuition is my way of seeing, because we've been conditioned to trust what it is that we see, and trust what it is that we see in the sense that, certain people wear uniforms and present themselves a certain way, and we're supposed to naturally look up to certain people as authority, when in fact, those people aren't our authority and they probably shouldn't be. And this causes us to not trust ourselves and instead trust others outside of us. And, this is where we find ourselves getting led to stray, or finding ourselves highly disappointed. When it comes to the tarot associated with the day, we are rocking with the 8. Wow, you guys. So the 8 of Cups in the reversal position. In the upright position, like I was mentioning, systems and cycles. This person's walking away from these 8 cups that are stacked up. When I think about the 8 cups stacked up, they're walking away from something secure, something emotionally secure, or it should be considered as emotionally secure, but clearly it's not working for them. Why they're choosing to walk away from this thing. And in the reversal position, it gives me the feeling of not wanting to walk away. It's like knowing that something isn't working, knowing that you're over something, but probably having a hard time walking away. So for some people, this could be anything from a relationship, from a job, from a habit, but some systematic thing that has been foundational in your life because of how long it's been there, not necessarily how much it's worked for you. It's hard to walk away from that thing with this in the reversal position. With the dolphin energy coming out first, it brings me to the importance of trusting ourselves. Like trusting ourselves, like I was mentioning earlier, when we have a hard time trusting our intuition and we go by how things look or how we were conditioned things to look, we could find ourselves again, feeling disappointed when things don't play out because we went by the way how things are supposed to look. It brings me to the thought of, oh, this person looks so good on paper, but something in my gut just kept telling me to pay attention. Whether it's romantic, platonic, whatever, it's like your intuition is telling you one thing, but because of maybe the appearance of the person or who referred them or whatnot, you're disregarding everything within you and possibly going along with something that might not feel right, but at the same time, it's like, it should be right. like this should be the right path, this should be the right way to go, this should be the right thing to do. And I feel like with this energy in the reversal position and the energy adding up and reducing to the number 9 vibration, I think of the 9 aspect, the chameleon aspect of the number 9, where we don't want to rock the boat, where we go along to get along because we don't want to deal with conflict, or because we don't want to be isolated and be by ourselves. The moon is in Taurus today, conjunct Jupiter. I love that the moon conjunct Jupiter is optimistic. The moon conjunct Jupiter is optimistic, and I love that for us because our inner world is optimistic and looking at all the different possibilities. But the challenge with the optimism sometimes is that it could be blinding to the point where we're a bit delusional, not looking at the reality of a thing and instead looking at the potential, what a thing could be, opposed to observing it for what it is. I look at how the sun and Pluto conjunct each other. When I think of Pluto energy, to me, Pluto energy helps us to take control, take our power back, even if we have to go through pain and struggle in order to do so. And that's squaring the moon conjunct Jupiter and Saturn. So I look at this and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, where it's like having a hard time walking away from something and taking one's power back, or taking life into one's own hands, and having a hard time doing it because instead of seeing what's happening right here, I'm optimistic about what could happen. And at the same time too, forcing myself to be optimistic about what could happen because I'm afraid of what will happen if I walk away. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be strong enough on my own. I'm afraid I'm not going to have what it takes. I'm afraid I'm going to make a bad decision. I'm afraid that I'm just not strong enough. It's not going to work out for me. You know, fear, to me, false evidence appearing to be real, is the only reason why we'll betray ourselves in a situation and allow ourselves to remain in something that's clearly not working. With the dolphin energy coming out, it just brings me to intuition, trusting our intuition. But even more than trusting our intuition and tying in with that is how something makes you feel. Pay attention to that alone. Like, I've learned to be so much better about that over the years, where before I would go by face value when it comes to most things because I was conditioned to, go by face value when it comes to things. This person looks good on paper. Look at how this person's presenting themselves. They're wearing a suit. They're conducting themselves a certain way. And it's like, but how am I feeling in this moment? And when it comes to the energies in today, it's like, allow your feelings to guide you. Allow your emotions to guide you. I look at how the sun and Mercury is so far apart, and I find myself tripping up over my words as if it's Mercury retrograde. And I find whenever the sun and Mercury is far apart, we find ourselves anticipating what it is that we're going to say, thinking a lot about what it is that we're going to say before we say it. And that's always a good thing. That could be a good thing. But sometimes we'll think so much about what it is that we're going to say, especially if you in your natal chart have your sun and your Mercury more than 10 degrees apart, or in different houses or in different signs. You'll find yourself processing what it is that you hear and what it is that you're going to say, to the point that you process what it is that you're going to say so much to the point that what comes out of your mouth and what it is that you're thinking are two totally different things. So this is where we express ourselves, but we do it in such a diplomatic way, to the point that everybody gets to hear what works for them or what they need to hear, but no one gets to hear what it is that we really need. And I think of that as like Libra energy, like the number 9 energy, the energies in the day adding up to the number 9. It's like we're trying our best not to have conflict or confrontation. So we're trying to pick our words wisely. But whenever we find ourselves trying to avoid conflict, if the conflict's going to come, the conflict's going to come. And it's actually going to be worse than it could have been if we had only stand in our truth from the jump and have boundaries and clear boundaries. Because a lot of the times people try to tiptoe around things and avoid conflict only to find themselves having a blow up. And then things escalate way further than they have to, when from jump, if we just stood our ground and express ourselves the way we needed to, things could have been so much different. Such a pleasure sharing this message with you. If you'd like to book a natal chart awareness coaching session with me, or check out my exclusive contents only available to Patreon. The links for that is in the description box below. Before you go anywhere, please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a brown heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.